So when kids are interested and they're contacting you, let's say they're out of state by maybe a region. So they're in Florida, or I don't know how broad, but let's just assume they can't quite get to you on campus. Do you watch video? Is video a tool you utilize?
Yes, video is a very big tool for us, especially with out-of-state kids, because, we can see, in a video, we can see their skill level, we can see what type of player they are, this, that, and the other. Now, certain videos are better than others. Obviously, with a video, you want the kid to wow you probably the first minute or so, and then after that, you can kind of put in whatever you want. But if you're putting in something where you're losing the ball 3 or 4 times in the first 30 seconds, I'm probably going to delete the video and delete your email. But I'd rather have you wow me in the first minute so that it catches my interest, and then I'll watch the rest of it. And then what I do is I usually email them and ask them for, do you have any game film, half a game, quarter game, a whole game, and that way I can see you play outside of the highlights kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, and you bring up a good point. Like, you do want to lead with your best foot. Coaches know that you're going to make a mistake, but they want to see, because you're probably going through a bunch of these. They want to know right away, are they wasting their time or not? So if you display, some weak skills up front, there's nothing to lead them to believe that there's anything more than that on the video, so they're not going to waste their time. That's a very good point.
Right, and also with the video, and parents in all this, whoever's taking the video, kind of get, other than a professional video service, get caught up in zooming in too much.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom out and let me see not only what you do with the ball, but what you do without the ball in that highlight. I don't need 2 or 3 minutes afterwards. I just need 10, 15, 20 seconds after you play the ball or win a header or win a tackle or something, just so I can see what you do right after you do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's very interesting, because last night I was watching some recruiting videos just to see what people were doing, like how they were kind of putting them together. And some are flashy, but there was this one center midfielder who it would cut as soon as he played a ball in, it would cut out. So you didn't see if it actually connected. You didn't see his movement afterwards, whether he was making a strong run to participate or holding So it was a little, as a coach, I was a little frustrated. I don't think families would ever pick up on that, but it was a little bit like, well, that's only the beginning of the play. How did you finish the play?
Exactly.
Yeah. So on average, how many kids are you working with, recruiting-wise? I think families think that coaches are just waiting for an email to pop in.
Right. Right now for 2017 and 2018 combined, I'm working with about 30.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm actively recruiting, interested in, all that kind of stuff. It really just depends on the year. Obviously, women's soccer is a lot more in advance with recruiting than men's soccer is. So, I have 4 committed for 2017. I have 3 offers out there. I have 2 that want to come on visits. I have 3 visits set up for 2018. So, it's a process, but we're not talking to hundreds and hundreds of kids that we're actively recruiting. We narrow it down pretty quickly.
And without disclosing, if you don't want, how do you narrow it down? Is it just a matter of they're just not a fit academically, they're gone, they're not a fit athletically, or how does that work?
A little bit of both. Academics is huge, especially with scholarship money and all that kind of stuff. Academics, talent-wise, are they going to be a fit for the way I coach? Are they going to be a fit for the way we play? What position am I recruiting? Do I even need your position? A lot of factors come in play in how we narrow it down. And we're never really done recruiting. Like when we say that we have all these girls or guys committed, ready to go, we're never really done. We're always looking for that player that will help our program take the next step.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And you brought it up. So let's talk. Like, how do you coach? How do you like to play? Talk more specifically about that.
Yeah. So basically, my philosophy is, I put a lot on my players' shoulders because they're the ones that have to play the game. They're the ones that have to practice this, that, and the other. I can set them up for success. It's whether or not they want to take it on. So I coach in a very fun, want to say fun manner where, I give the kids the tools to be successful. It's whether or not they are going to accept those tools or not. Mm-hmm. Our style of play, we're a very high-paced possession style team. I like to get the ball forward as quickly as possible, but I like to connect the lines within that possession. So I don't just lump the ball forward and we run and track it down, and hopefully we can get on the end of it. I like to play through the midfield. I like to play, our outside backs. I call those auxiliary forwards, get them as high up the field as possible. And once we lose it, we're a high press, win the ball in our attacking third, go score a goal kind of team. I'm a very energetic guy, so I like my team to play with a lot of energy.
So your interesting point here. So you use your outside backs a lot in the attack, right?
Yes.
So they're probably going to need to be a little bit pacey and have a little bit of confidence in the ball, which I don't know if families know this a lot, but a lot of times, and this is not uncommon for coaches to like to attack out of the back, and so the personality you might be looking for to fill that position may not be an actual outside back through her club or high school career. Like, a lot of times people will transition a attacking player who is often pacey and aggressive with the ball into that outside back position. So maybe you could speak to like versatility, because your how you like to play, particularly with the outside back and whatever else you're doing, that's not just a typical outside back.
Right. And with versatility, it's hard because when we're recruiting, we kind of look at somebody and we say, okay, maybe you play a winger or maybe you play a center mid position, but I can train you at outside back. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we look at outside backs and we think, okay, you're a good outside back, but maybe you're not getting forward enough, but you're good enough, and I want you on my team. I can train you to get you forward through the way we practice, the way we play, all that kind of stuff. So, and honestly, youth coaches are doing a lot better with that in particular with outside backs is allowing them to get forward a lot more, which, when I was growing up, it was, you're a defender, you stay, half line is your basically line of confrontation, this, that, and the other. And so, I give a lot of credit to the youth coaches. As the game evolves, the youth coaches and the clubs, youth clubs and all that kind of stuff are evolving with it as well.
Yeah, and I think that to drive the point home is you're looking at players not for necessarily how and where they're playing on their club team as you watch them, but you're looking for those personalities and traits and how that fits into what you have and what you're doing.
Yeah, basically. I mean, we can look at on the, obviously there's tens of coaches at most games, and we're all watching just the game, and if one player stands out, catches our eye or something, and if you're a good player, we're going to sit there and go, okay, maybe you play forward, but we can convert you as an outside back just on your personality, your traits, how you fit into our system, how your play fits into our system, this, that, and the other. So if you're a good player and we like you, we can usually picture you playing somewhere that maybe you're not playing in your club team, but at the college level, we see you being successful at certain positions.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes people think, well, I'm a forward, I'm going to play forward, and that, you might find a program that needs a forward, but there's other opportunities there if you're willing to be versatile. You can fit into a lot more systems and be more valuable, and then thereby have more opportunities to play at different colleges.
Definitely.
So you mentioned the youth soccer system. Let's talk about that. Do you find that there's anything as you work with players, and you're relatively young, you don't have decades of experience, but you've certainly seen enough players to know, is there anything that's kind of missing from these seniors that are leaving and joining now the next level that the youth soccer and youth clubs systems should be able to solve, whether it's just a mental aspect or a technical component? What's your thought on that?
That's a tough question. I mean, technically I think most youth clubs do a great job of preparing the kids. Technically, with the ball at their feet. I think the one component I think that could get better, I guess, in your terms is missing, would be the tactical component, as far as maybe different systems of play, because every college plays a different system of play or a different formation or something like that. But the other side of that is that, youth clubs only get their kids 2 or 3 times a week, so it's really hard to sit there and go over tactics, shadow play, all that kind of stuff, because, one, kids don't want to do it, especially at the youth club level. Where in college, we work with them every week, all week long, so we can touch on that stuff and video breakdown and tactic talk and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's one component that I think that's definitely lacking as far as, being able to do that more often with the kids. Usually the coaches are like, we're going to play the system, and this is going to be how we play. Well, in college, we might play one formation for 2 weeks, and then we come up against an opponent where we need to play another formation another time.
Yeah.
So I think that's the big thing, I think, not necessarily missing, but one thing that I think could get better.
And you might play, more than one system in a game, depending on, how the game's going. Maybe you get a goal against an opponent that's clearly better than you, and you need to bunker in, so you might shift to 4 or 5 in the back.
Right. No, I totally agree with you.
Is there any sort of advice that that you can give families that are starting out with the recruiting process that you feel would be helpful to them?
The biggest thing is just for the kids and the families, first of all, be proactive. Colleges aren't just going to try and seek you out. I mean, like you touched on earlier, we get hundreds and hundreds of emails a day, whether it's from our administration, our university, recruits. So it's hard for us to go actively seek kids on a daily basis. So it's be proactive, and if you really want to go to that school, whether or not the coach invites you, go on a visit. If it's feasible, go on a visit and do your research. We do our research on our end with, calling club coaches, high school coaches, personal trainers, whatever. The kids can do the same thing. Families can do the same thing. Every school has a website. Go out, look at the website. You kind of know what you're interested in studying. So look at the college. Does it have my major? Does it have the thing I want to go to or study? Is it in a good location? All that comes into play. So being proactive, doing your homework, all that kind of stuff, I think is the best advice I can give anybody.
Cool. And when it comes to contact and being proactive, I totally agree. They need to take responsibility to get in contact with coaches. Some kids feel that, they'll get stymied because they sent an email to you already. and they don't want to bother you by sending another email. What would your response be to that?
I'll pester. If you're interested in the program and you are dead set on that program, keep emailing the coach. Keep on the coach, because we have so many things going on that we may see your email and we want to respond, and then all of a sudden, we have to go to this meeting or we have to do this, that, and the other, and we kind of forget about responding even though we want to. So just keep on the coach. Keep emailing the coach. I mean, usually most coaches are good people that they will either respond to you at some point or tell you, hey, I'm not interested. And so just keep on the coach. I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah, and it probably, to some extent, actually helps you as a coach more, because it reminds you, and you're able to, when you have time, you're able to respond rather than trying to go back and dig out that one email out of probably now thousands, and that's just probably not feasible.
Exactly. And with us, it's if we keep getting an email from Susie, every week or something like that, we'll be like, oh, Susie's emailing again. Oh, I need to take a look at her profile, her video, whatever. And we will eventually, and then we'll sit down and evaluate, can she help my program, and then kind of go from there.
Right. So I love that you said pester. I mean, because that's exactly how I feel. Like, get after it. Make sure that they recognize that you really want to be a part of this program. It's not for the weak at heart where you send one email and then you sit back and wait for the coach, because that will just never happen. Right.
Or if you're waiting for the coach to email you, it's very rare that a coach will email you just out of the blue if you haven't emailed him or he hasn't seen you play or anything like that.
I'm excited you said that, because the advice coming out, and I'm up in South Dakota now, and the advice coming out of even the bigger clubs here in South Dakota, which there are not many, so people will know who I'm talking about, their advice is wait till you're a senior, and if you're good enough, coaches will find you, which I don't know about you, but not many coaches are traveling to South Dakota to look for the next diamond in the rough. And even if they had the budget to travel, they're not going to come out to South Dakota. So that's a point I'm driving home. Like, you've got to contact the coaches and not wait for them to find you.
Right. And, especially in the women's game, too early is never a bad thing. If you're a sophomore, depending on who you're emailing, if you're a sophomore, a freshman, junior, whatever, look at the list of coaches that are going to be at your tournament and email them anyway. Because of NCAA rules, we may or may not be able to email you back or talk to you or this, that, and the other. But more often than not, if you email the coach, he will put you on the list to watch you play, at least a little bit.
I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm kind of really excited to see how this season goes for you. I'm always excited to see a program that's building and moving forward. And I also think Topeka is a great location for some of my players because of the proximity to some bigger cities, but also it sounds like Topeka itself isn't massively overwhelming, right? It's not a
No, it really isn't. Like, it's the capital city, but you don't feel like you're in the capital city.
Yeah. So I appreciate your time, and maybe we can touch base like after the season and talk about, the program again, or in the spring or sometime. Not to be, a burden, but I think it'd be great to catch up, especially with, you're building your program.
No, definitely. I'd be definitely open to that.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So that's our time with Chris. Again, if you're interested in what Chris is doing over at Washburn University. You can contact him. His email is chris.jones, that's chris.jones, at washburn.edu, washburn.edu. You also call him, 785-670-1756. Chris Jones, head women's soccer coach at Washburn University in Topeka, Kansas. Thanks for listening to the Play College Soccer podcast. If you need any help, please go to our site, playcollegesoccer.org, where we've assembled plenty of helpful resources for you. Until next time, I'll see you.